It's a strange kind of cold, the one that settles in your soul. Not the cold of a winter night you can escape with blankets or fire, but a chill that lives inside you. This is the winter of the soul, a season of despair that no weather forecast can predict. And it feels like it may never end. You wake to gray skies, even on a sunny morning. Food tastes like nothing. Conversations echo in an empty room of your heart. You move through each day, as if walking through deep snow, heavy, slow, and numb. Nothing really touches you. The world feels distant, muffled by this endless inner winter. Even sleep offers no true rest. It's just a pause in the cold. Once upon a time, you weren't like this. You remember a version of yourself who woke up with hope, who had plans and dreams that felt alive. That person felt the warmth of possibility, as if life was an open road. But that feels like a lifetime ago. And you can hardly recognize that optimistic writer you used to be. You poured your heart into your work, into your words, into the idea that you could shape the world with your stories. You dared to dream, to reach, to create something meaningful. But the world wasn't kind in return. Rejection, silence, or indifference met your efforts. Each failure hit you like a hard frost, killing off whatever was blooming inside. Now here you are, surrounded by the ruins of what you built in your mind. The blank pages, the fading ideas, the echoes of past enthusiasm now feel like ghosts haunting you. You sit in the quiet of your room or the dead of night, feeling that heavy emptiness in your chest. It's not just sadness, it's the absence of hope, a sense that nothing matters anymore. Days blur together when you're in this state. Morning, evening, Monday or Friday, it doesn't really matter anymore. You find yourself staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. or sitting in the same chair for hours, unable to muster the energy to do anything. Even the things you used to love hold no interest now. It's all just nothing. You might be carrying this despair quietly, not letting the outside world see the full extent of it. Maybe you still force a smile when someone asks how you are, saying, "I'm fine," out of habit. Or maybe you've retreated completely, avoiding friends and family because you can't bear to pretend anymore. Either way, you feel alone in a way that's hard to describe. There's a strange guilt that comes with this kind of despair. You think of all the ways you should be better by now. You tell yourself others have it worse, or that you're weak for feeling this way. You remember advice about staying positive, or just keep trying, and it rings hollow. It almost makes you angry. Or it would, if you could feel much of anything at all. Sometimes you wonder if this is just how life will be from now on. A flat line, an endless winter with no spring. You catch yourself thinking it's permanent, that you've seen the truth of things, and the truth is that life is just suffering and emptiness. It's a bleak thought, and it settles on you heavily. A sense that you've reached the end of what life can offer. In darker moments, a whisper in your mind asks, "What's the point of going on?" It's a question you never thought you'd seriously consider. But when each day feels like a copy of the last, and every hope has withered, the idea of not existing anymore can start to feel like a relief. Not so much wanting to die, perhaps, as just wanting the pain to stop and the numbness to mean something. Those thoughts creep in quietly, and sometimes you even entertain them. You imagine ways out. You picture the world without you in it and wonder if anyone would really miss you, or if maybe they'd be better off. It scares you that you can think like this, but at the same time, a part of you feels almost calm at the idea of just not being here anymore. That calm is deceptive. You know this. But it calls to you when the nights are darkest. And yet, despite all of this, you're still here. You haven't acted on those dark ideas. Maybe it's fear that holds you back, or maybe some last thread of hope, or just the stubborn habit of living. Whatever it is, something in you refuses to let go completely. Some small, quiet voice inside says, wait, just a little longer. You might not even call it hope, but it's there, keeping you alive one day at a time. In the midst of all this pain, there are moments, however brief, of unexpected warmth. Perhaps a friend sends a message out of the blue just to check on you, and you find yourself with tears in your eyes because someone cared. Or a stranger offers a small kindness, and for a split second, you feel seen. Like maybe you aren't completely invisible after all. These moments don't fix everything, but they glow like embers in the cold, if only for a moment. You might brush those moments off, telling yourself they're nothing. The darkness is quick to dismiss the light. But let's pause on that feeling of being seen, of someone caring. You deserve that. You deserve to be cared for, not just by others, but by yourself. I know it's hard to feel self-compassion when you're in this state. But try, just for a second, to regard your pain the way you would a dear friend's pain if someone you loved felt as broken as you do right now. You wouldn't call them weak or hopeless. You'd gently hold them or sit quietly with them and let them know you're there. You deserve the same gentle presence from yourself, because here's the truth. Feeling this way doesn't mean you're broken beyond repair. It means you're human and you're hurting. Life can be cruel and losses can cut deep. Anyone in your shoes would struggle. This despair isn't a personal failing or a moral weakness. It's a sign that you've been trying to cope with immense pain. In a twisted way, it even shows how much you cared about your dreams, your work, maybe other people. You wouldn't feel this devastated if none of it mattered to you in the first place. Remember that? Your pain is born from something meaningful. It might not comfort you much to hear that your pain is meaningful. When you're in the thick of it, pain just feels like pain. But consider what it means that you could hurt this deeply. It means there was something or someone you loved or yearned for, something that mattered profoundly to you. You feel empty now because you were once full. You feel broken because something precious was shattered. In a way, this despair is a testament to the depth of your soul, how deeply you live and feel, how much you dared to hope. So here you are, living in the wreckage, asking the big questions almost by default. If everything can fall apart so cruelly, if all that meaning can evaporate, then what's the point of any of it? Is life just a cruel joke? You might feel like the universe is indifferent to your suffering, and maybe it is. These are the kinds of heavy thoughts that come in the middle of an existential night. You're not the first to ask them. Throughout history, others have stood where you stand, on the edge of that abyss, wondering what to do when all meaning seems lost. One of those people was a writer named Albert Camus. He wrestled with the same question you're wrestling with now. If life is truly absurd and devoid of meaning, why not just end it? It's a terrifying question, but an honest one for someone in despair. Camus looked into that abyss, and strangely enough, he didn't blink. Instead, he decided that if the world was truly meaningless, that was all the more reason to rebel against despair. If nothing inherently matters, he said, then we are free to give it whatever meaning we want. And continuing to live, fully, defiantly, could be a powerful act of rebellion against a cruel, cold universe. Camus even spoke of finding an invincible summer within himself, even in the depths of winter. What a thought! That somewhere inside, beneath all the ice and darkness, there is a warmth that cannot be extinguished. An invincible summer. It means that no matter how much life piles on the cold and the pain, there's something in you that refuses to die. Some inner light or vitality that survives it. You might not feel it now. In fact, you almost certainly don't. But the idea that it could be there, waiting, is powerful. Think about it. Despite everything, you are still here. That suggests a resilience in you that you probably don't credit yourself for. You might scoff and say, "I'm not resilient, I'm barely getting by." But getting by at all, dragging yourself through each painful day, is a kind of resilience. Perhaps that's your invincible summer, the quiet will to live that stays alive somewhere inside you, even when your mind has lost all hope. It hasn't abandoned you, even if you've abandoned it. And if that spark exists, no matter how small, it means this winter of the soul is not the final word. Let's turn to another perspective, one that comes from a very different place, but meets you in the same darkness. In Buddhist thought, there's a fundamental idea called impermanence. Everything changes. No feeling, no situation, no matter how intense, lasts forever. Your despair might feel endless, but Buddhism gently reminds us that even this pain is a passing storm. It doesn't dismiss your suffering. It just says that by nature, all storms eventually run out of rain. Even the darkest clouds dissipate with time. Right now, it might feel like you're stuck in an eternal night. But impermanence means that nothing stays static. The wheel of life keeps turning. Seasons do change, even when winter seems like it will never let go. Just as every winter in the world eventually gives way to spring, the cold grip of this inner despair will eventually loosen. You may not believe it now. That's okay. You don't have to believe it for it to be true. Change is happening even if you can't see it yet, even if it's slow, like the subtle lengthening of daylight after the solstice. Another insight from that Buddhist perspective. Suffering is not a punishment or a personal failing. It's a part of being alive. The Buddha's very first teaching was that life includes suffering, dukkha, not as a condemnation, but as a clear-eyed acknowledgement. In other words, you're not alone in your pain. You're part of the human family in your suffering. This doesn't make your pain smaller, but it does mean that what you're feeling is deeply human. Countless others have felt their own version of this despair. It's not just you against the universe. In a strange way, it's all of us, together, facing the fragility of life. This might not cheer you up, but it can offer a kind of solace. The feeling that you haven't been singled out or cursed by some unique misery. Your winter of the soul is your own, yes. But the fact that humans even have the phrase, winter of the soul, means others have been here too. They've felt what you're feeling. Some of them found their way through it. Some of them even wrote about it, turned their pain into stories, music, insight. Their experiences light little lanterns in the darkness, showing that these bleak moments can be lived through and even learned from. In Buddhist practice, compassion for oneself in suffering is key. Instead of berating yourself for feeling this way, You're encouraged to sit with the feeling. Observe it gently, without judgment. Imagine treating your pain like a tired, wounded traveler who shows up at your door. Instead of forcing it away, you invite it in for a moment. Maybe offer it a blanket and listen quietly. Strange as this sounds, it's a way to soften your resistance to pain. When you stop fighting despair and give it gentle attention, it may start to shift. Simply acknowledging "I am in pain" can release a bit of the tightness in your chest. It's a subtle change, but on a long, dark night, even a small release can feel significant. Knowing all this, what do you do now? The answer isn't a grand epiphany or a sudden transformation. It's in the small things. Despair often tells you to do nothing, to stay in bed, to be silent and still. So the way forward is made of tiny, almost insignificant actions that defy that voice. Little steps, taken one day, 1 hour at a time. Think of them as your way of saying, "I'm still here," even if you have to say it quietly. Maybe that means that this morning you get out of bed, even if you move like a sloth and your body feels like lead. You stand under the shower and let the water hit your skin, even if you don't feel refreshed. You make yourself a cup of tea or eat a few bites of food, even if it all tastes like cardboard. These may sound like basic, trivial acts, but in the depths of despair, they are small acts of rebellion. They are you refusing to completely surrender to the darkness. Despair wants you to isolate, to believe no one cares. So defy it gently. Reach out to someone you trust. It could be a friend or a family member. You don't have to pour out your soul. Even a simple text or a short call to say hello can break through the icy loneliness. If words are too hard, just sit with someone quietly. Sometimes presence is enough. You might be surprised. Hearing another voice or just knowing someone is there reminds you that you're connected to the world, that you haven't vanished. If despair tells you that doing what you used to love is pointless, try doing it anyway, but with no expectations. Take out your journal and write exactly what you feel. Not for an audience or a goal, but just to let the pain speak. The aim isn't to create anything perfect. It's simply to give your inner self a voice in the silence. You are a writer at heart, and even if every word feels heavy now, writing a raw line like "I am hurting" can be a tiny act of healing. An echo of that voice inside whispering, "I'm alive, and this is my reality right now." Another act of quiet defiance. Step outside, even if only for a minute. Put on your shoes and stand on your porch or doorstep. Feel the air on your face, cold or warm. It proves you're still here in the world. Look at the sky, even if it's cloudy or gray. A short walk to the corner and back, or simply that glimpse of the open world, can shift something in you. It's a way of reminding yourself, even faintly, that there is more to life than the darkness in your head. At first, these little actions might feel hollow or forced. You might go through the motions and think, "This isn't helping at all." That's okay. You don't have to feel a dramatic change for it to be working. Think of it like planting seeds in frozen ground. On the day you plant them, nothing looks different. The soil still looks cold and barren. But underneath, something is quietly starting. Every cup of tea you drink, every time you drag yourself into the shower, every text you send or line you write. Each one is a tiny candle lit in a dark room. One candle doesn't banish the darkness, but it makes it a little less absolute. Those small lights add up. You might not notice their glow when you're in the middle of the darkness, but they are there, flickering stubbornly against the gloom. You probably won't wake up tomorrow suddenly full of joy. Healing from this kind of despair is not a straight line upward. It's a jagged, winding path. Some days you might feel even worse than before and wonder why you bother trying at all. Other days might hold a brief moment of relief or peace that vanishes too quickly. This is normal. There will be ups and downs, steps forward and steps back. What's crucial is to not judge yourself for the bad days. When you can't get out of bed, when the weight on your chest is too heavy to do anything, try not to add to your suffering by calling yourself a failure. Treat yourself with the same understanding you'd give that friend we talked about. If they were too depressed to function on a given day, you wouldn't scold them. You'd understand they're hurting. Offer yourself that same kindness. It's okay to fall apart sometimes. You only need to remember to gently pull yourself back together when you can. Over time, those tiny acts of living begin to accumulate. You might not even notice it at first, but perhaps one morning you realize the heaviness has ever so slightly lifted. Or you find yourself watching a movie or listening to a song and, to your surprise, actually feeling something, be it a small smile or a tear. You may catch yourself caring just a little about something again. These moments are subtle, but they're real. They're like the first subtle hints of spring in the air, even while patches of snow still lie on the ground. And when those moments of feeling do come, however brief, acknowledge them. You might feel a flicker of relief followed by fear that it won't last. That's normal. It might not last long right now. You might smile and then, an hour later, feel the darkness creep back in. But don't discount that smile or that moment of interest. It mattered. It was real. It's proof that the grip of despair is no longer absolute. Think of those moments as cracks in the ice or rays of sun breaking through the clouds. They may be small and scattered at first, but they're significant. Each crack means the ice is thinning. Each ray means the sky is starting to clear. These are signs that this inner winter is slowly beginning to thaw. Your despair once convinced you it was endless, but here is the evidence that it's not. Each day you choose to see through, each small act of defiance has been feeding that inner flame. You're tending to the invincible summer within you, even when you don't feel its warmth yet. And bit by bit, it grows. The fact that you are still here, listening to this, breathing, and maybe even nodding along, means that spark never went out. Despite everything, you kept it alive. That quiet will to live carried you through the darkest nights. This is what Camus meant by rebellion. Continuing to live in the face of despair. Not with swords or shouts, but with a steady, stubborn refusal to give up. Every time you got out of bed when you didn't want to, every time you lived through another joyless day, you were rebelling. It might not have felt heroic, but it was. You were saying no to the voice that urged you to surrender. You were affirming life even without feeling the joy of it at the time. And eventually, you find yourself in a place you once thought impossible to reach. A day when the weight isn't crushing you. A day when you realize you laughed at something or felt a quiet contentment in a small moment. You notice that the world around you looks a little brighter. That invincible summer, the quiet will to live inside you, has been here all along, carrying you through the coldest season of your life. And now, as the world within you warms and lightens, you can begin to trust that the worst is behind you. The winter of your soul is passing, and a new season is unfolding. If this message resonated with you, if it felt like I was speaking to that secret pain inside you, then consider joining me as we continue exploring these depths. Subscribe to this channel, not just because someone told you to click a button, but because you want to keep digging into the truth of our experiences. This corner of the internet we share isn't about pretending everything is okay or slapping a band-aid on deep wounds. It's about honesty, about facing what's real, even when it's uncomfortable. I make these videos as a way to reach out, much like I encouraged you to reach out. It's my way of saying, you're not alone in this. This space is for people who are tired of surface-level positivity and cheap platitudes. It's for those who crave authenticity, who would rather confront the hard truths of life than live in denial. Whether it's despair, fear, anxiety, or any other shadow that hangs over us, we tackle it here with open eyes and open hearts. Think of this as a kind of fellowship of the broken and healing. We're all here because we know what the dark nights feel like, and we're done with facing them alone. Here, we don't shy away from pain or sweep it under the rug. We acknowledge it, we talk about it, and we find ways to live through it. If that sounds like the kind of journey you need, then stick around. We'll walk this path together, step by step. So if you haven't already, subscribe or just stay tuned. Not because I need another subscriber, but because you might need a reminder now and then that there's someone out here who gets it. Someone who will be here next time you're in a dark place, offering another light, another perspective, or just companionship in the silence. If you found comfort or strength in this, let's keep going. We have more to explore, and I'd be honored to have you with me on this journey. Now, as we reach the end of this video, I want to leave you with one final thought. I've spoken a lot here, poured out these words to you, but the truth is that the most important conversation is the one you'll have with yourself after this. My voice will fade, the video will end, and you'll be left with the quiet of your own mind. In that quiet, I hope you'll remember some of what we've talked about. I won't sign off with a simple goodbye or see you next time, because this isn't the end of something. It's the beginning of something for you. So instead, I'll say this. It's your turn now. When this video stops, take a moment for yourself. Sit in that silence for a minute. Breathe. Feel your heart beating. You're alive. You're here. That is no small thing. If you can, look gently at the despair that's been living inside you. Really look at it. Acknowledge its presence and acknowledge that it is not all of you. It's a chapter in your story, not the whole book. It's a season of your life, not forever. Yes, it has been painfully real. But like all seasons, it will change. The fact that you're here now listening means it hasn't defeated you. Remember that. So ask yourself, what will you do now? Maybe it's one of those small steps we talked about. Maybe you'll reach out to a friend or write a few lines in your journal tonight, or just drink a glass of water and go to bed. Maybe it's simply promising yourself to see tomorrow. Whatever it is, decide it. The story from here is yours to write. The real ending to this chapter isn't written by me or anyone else. It's written by you, in what you choose to do after this moment. Go on now. Step back into the world, even if you do so with trembling legs and a heavy heart. Step into the light of day or the cool of the night, even if you still feel the chill of your winter lingering. Take a breath and stand up, even if you feel unsteady. Live your life moment by moment, because it's far too precious to give up. Don't let despair steal any more of your days. You have a say in this. You always did, and you do now. The only thing left to do now is what you decide.